Hello friends, I am back. I haven't made a video in a couple of weeks because I've been kind of busy, but I want to jump back in and try to make a really quick video about Kathy Bates this week. So I've already watched a little bit of Kathy so far, but I haven't fully narrowed down her type. I have an idea. So actually what I'm trying to do is I see my brain trying to make her into an ESTJ. That's what I want her to be, TESI. Because in the few clips I've watched of her, I'm seeing a lot of DE, a lot of decider, so probably EJ. And for some reason I'm thinking TE, even though I can't like quite pin that down, but I want to make her an ESTJ. So I'm gonna see if I can go through a few clips. I probably won't be able to fully type her just because I'm limited on time, but I want to go through a few clips and see what I can see of her and see if I can actually, I guess, distinguish between TE and FE. I think that's probably what I'm going to go after this week. So let's see what we can find. All right, so I have a few clips that seem to be her basically processing people.
Just about to finish, and I was getting an opportunity to direct my first time, and so I was very shy. I said, so, what kind of advice can you give me, Mike? And he said...
So possibly awkward about approaching people about advice. That's kind of anecdotally a single decider thing.
I said, even though I'm an actor, I'm kind of nervous about directing other actors because, when you work with other actors, you're never supposed to say anything about what they're doing. That's the director's job.
You're never supposed to say anything to another actor because you cannot cross that line. That's the director's job. The actor's job is to do this. I want to stay in my place and do my thing because I can't overstep bounds. That also kind of seems like possibly a single decider thing, like not wanting to go outside of what you're supposed to do. Well, that's really an EJ thing because the DIs would do that, but yeah, just anecdotally an EJ thing.
And he said, love him. Just love him. And he was right.
So just self-reporting, like maybe awkward about people and a little bit scared of people. And then there's also this clip.
I was horrified at what had happened to Richard Jewell. They made fun of him, horrible headlines, horrible. I mean, as an actor, even a sentence in a review can just go right to my heart and I'll never forget it. But I could never imagine being the subject of these horrible headlines. I sat with Bobby.
So I could never imagine being the subject of these horrible headlines. Even a single line will go straight to my heart. So again, there's no really comparison here between single deciding and single observing. A double decider could say that kind of a thing. But she's, again, just self-reporting that, like, things that people say about her are so hard. They go straight to the point, and, like, that just really, really hurts her. So double deciders can feel like that, but she's just saying, like, I have decider issues, I guess. And then this one.
Into my third act with a bang. So I owe him a lot. I really do. I always will. And I will regret to my living days that I was so nervous at the Emmys when I won that I neglected to thank him. I was all about the crew,
Thank you all so very much.
I just forgot to thank Ryan, and he was very upset, and he was right to be upset. And he's gotten over it now, but I don't know if I ever will. Yes, we're thanking Ryan Murphy here. Thank you, Ryan.
So I don't know if I will ever get over it. I did something to offend a tribe member, and I don't know if I will ever get over it. I will never forgive myself. That seems just like extremely not double deciding. Sure, yeah, I forgot to thank a really important person in, your Emmy speech that is like, you should, thank people, and that's would be a really nice thing to do, but I would think that someone would forgive you for being nervous. You know, that seems like such... I would imagine a double decider would not say things like, I will never forgive myself for not thanking someone. And she actually brought this up in another interview that I saw, so it seems like this is something that she's been processing, you know, multiple times. This wasn't just like one thing. She brought it up in another interview as well. So again, just like anecdotally seems kind of more along the lines of single decider and also more along the lines of EJ. All right, so in this clip, Kathy is going to talk about a period of time when she was doing this Broadway play, and she kind of got in like a little bit of a bad place in her life. And this, I think, is a really good clip to show seemingly all of her parts, because she's going to talk about feelings. She's going to talk a little bit about missing information, and she's also going to be processing some decider things. So I really feel like this should be able to show her complete type.
When we were on Broadway, it's doing those lines every night was like a mantra. So it gets into your brain chemistry. And I started seeing weird things, like Anne had, I didn't know she had on shoes, night shoes like my mom wears, Daniel Green. And I thought, gosh, I've never seen those before. And she pulls down the attic and it said made in Memphis, Tennessee, which is my home. And I thought, whoa, somebody's gaslighting me. So I really got into a bad space and I had to stop. And it was...
Okay, so right off the bat, that seems kind of like demon intuition to me. It's, you know, I feel like intuitives can be surprised by, you know, patterns. Especially if they, you know, think they're seeing a pattern and then the pattern is different from what they think they're seeing. You know, they can be surprised and scared by patterns that, you know, don't line up with their intuition. But the way she's describing it is like, I wasn't seeing any patterns, and then this person was wearing these shoes that were similar to the shoes that my mom wears, and then there was a sign that said Memphis, and then that is connected to where my mom was born, and then, you know, like these connections, it seems like she was kind of scared of the connections a little bit. So to me, that seems like demon intuition. And then even she says very, very briefly, I felt like someone was gaslighting me. And gaslighting seems a little bit like, well, it's a single decider thing, I think, because it's like someone is like tricking me. Well, actually, I guess that doesn't necessarily... For some reason, I associate with single deciding, although now that I'm saying it out loud, that actually doesn't make much sense. But it does seem like it's connected to demon intuition, because it's like, I don't know what's going on, and someone is trying to convince me that something is going on when that thing isn't actually going on. And that can be really scary if you're not actually looking at the patterns. So it was really, really quick, but that idea of like, someone is gaslighting me, that seems like I'm scared because someone is tricking me, showing me patterns that aren't there, and that's scary because I'm not responsible for looking at those patterns. So seems like demon intuition.
Either Jesse Cates is going to live or Kathy Bates is going to live, you know, and I had to step out of the show for a performance or two. And I realized that when you do something because you love it, it's being an amateur, because it comes from the Latin amo amas amat. You do it because you love it. And if you're a professional, you have to do it regardless of whether you love it or whether you feel like it that night.
So there she's really talking about like doing things that you love and like her feelings. And I feel like I should be able to kind of distinguish between FI and FE there, but I don't know, I can't. That I feel like anyone with feeling anywhere in the stack could say something like that. And you have to do what you love.
The trick is to keep both, because if you don't love it, then it's empty. And as someone said to me back in those days, you need a head like a bullet and a heart like a baby. That's interesting. Yeah. So that's what kept me going. My parents came to see the play when it was out in Los Angeles here, but my dad couldn't hear it. And You couldn't see it, you know. And he said, he used to call me Cat. Everybody in my family does.
Okay, so here she's getting a little bit like choked up talking about her dad. So now I'm trying to think, like, when she's processing her like parents coming to the play and her dad not being able to see the play, is like the pain of her dad not seeing her on stage stronger than the fear of like the demon intuition? I don't really know. It's a little bit hard to say, but she's certainly talking about both here. Both missing information, oh my god, someone's gaslighting me, and then also kind of the pain of her family life.
And you couldn't see it, you know. And
so there she gets like choked up just like a teensy bit, and then she reins it in. And I'm trying to think, is that like an FE thing? You know, the FEs are so good at doing that. Is that just masculine feelings? The masculine feelings are also really good at that, whether it's FE or FI. I don't know, but she's like showing emotion here. I just can't tell whether it's savior or demon.
You couldn't see it, you know. And he said, he used to call me Cat. Everybody in my family does, because I land on my feet. I don't know, I'm so lucky. I'm telling you, and I've seriously landed on my feet with the cancer. But he said, I'm not going to call you Cat anymore, I'm going to call you Tiger.
Wow.
And so at least I feel that they got to understand that what they did really, really meant a lot, you know. But I don't think I've thanked my mom adequately. I thanked my dad with the Oscar speech. I didn't thank my mom, and I didn't thank my husband. I was with Daniel Day-Lewis. I said, we were just off stage. I said, oh my God, I didn't thank my husband. And he said, well, let's go back out there. And I was like, no, I know we can't go out there. We can't go out there. So, in a silly way, it's not silly, I guess. In a way, one reason I want to win another Oscar is so I can thank my mom. So
that also seems single decider, like, oh my God, I didn't thank my parents. Again, you know, she said that before with, you know, that other guy, just like, how could I not thank someone that's the biggest deal in the world? So she certainly talks about the decider stuff more than the missing information stuff, which is why I'm kind of leaning single decider for her. Yeah, here she talks about both missing information and single deciding, but it seems possibly like the single deciding is the bigger deal. The other thing I noticed, again, demon intuition a little bit with people tell me I land on my feet. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to explain why that is. Possibly, is that demon NT even? But just demon intuition. People say this thing. I don't know why. Not gonna guess. Anyways, moving on. So yeah, demon intuition, and then that feeling. Is it savior or demon? I don't know. She's showing emotion. You know, she has pain that she's expressing, like, you know, decider issues that she's resolving with her parents and her dad, and I just can't tell if it's savior or demon. All right, so the more I am looking for TE, the more I'm really not finding it. I'm not explicitly seeing FE, but I'm just really not seeing TE. So in this clip right here, Kathy's going to talk about her work with, so she's I think a spokesperson for a nonprofit organization that does like you know, awareness and funds research for lymphedema, because Kathy Bates has lymphedema, and so she's a spokesperson for this nonprofit organization, and she's just going to talk a little bit about that, why this is a problem, and kind of how she sees like the solution to this.
That doctors spend 15 minutes in 4 years of medical school on the lymphatic system, and 10 million Americans suffer from this, and the majority are cancer survivors. So we lobby every year in Congress.
So throwing out the facts, here are the facts of the problems.
And we all go to the Lincoln Memorial, and we sit and talk afterwards. We have our walk around the reflecting pond, and some people can barely walk because their legs are swollen, and their courage and the fact that they live day by day by day, it's disfiguring, it's psychologically damaging, it's progressive, it's incurable. Doctors don't know what they're doing. So
So here she's really setting up the problem. Here's why it's difficult for people. Here's how it affects people. Here's what causes it. There's not, enough education. Doctors only spend 15 minutes on the lymphatic system in medical school. So just setting up the problem.
Thank you, dude, for giving me an opportunity to talk about this, because we're determined to, I spoke in front of the subcommittee of appropriations last spring. Rosa Delario, a fabulous woman from Connecticut, representative. And I got to speak at the American Society of Breast Surgeons, but it's hard to get them to change their ways. And I don't know, but I'm guessing that.
Okay, so now she's going to go into the solution. So she set up the problem and here's how we could potentially fix it.
They don't want to think that something they've done can create something that someone else has to live with for the rest of their lives. And somehow we've got to get the ego, the hubris out of it. I have to go back to my father too.
So her solution is to saying people need to basically change their emotions. They need to get their ego, their hubris out of it. So the reason why this is remaining a problem is it's an ego issue. People don't want to, I forget exactly how she phrased it, don't want to think that they are doing something that's affecting someone else for the rest of, but I don't remember how she phrased it, but it's an emotional solution. So I'm thinking, okay, if she is TE, would the solution that she comes up with be this kind of a thing? The solution be a kind of emotional ego problem? Or would it be we need to do more things. They need to, spend more time in medical school on the lymphatic system. They need to educate people. We need to, have more, education or information or something like that, So this type of a solution, we need to change people's egos, seems more like it's on the savior feeler side. Not specifically FE, right? This isn't an FE specific thing, but this is just seems responsible for the feelings and the emotions. I would think that someone who was TE would just come up with a different solution. So this is not by any means a home run for FE at all, because I'm really not seeing FE explicitly. But again, just the more I look for TE, the more I'm just really not seeing TE, and I'm just seeing a lot of feelings. Not explicitly FE, but just, a lot of feelings. Okay, so in this clip, Kathy's going to talk about kind of a discovery that she's made of just letting go of a lot of negativity and anxieties and worries and just living a kind of freer life. So this kind of seems like just a small snippet of her kind of alpha message.
I guess the thing that's hearing what I'm saying to you is that...
Okay, so actually, first thing, so hearing what I'm saying to you, that seems a little bit like demon sleep to me, or sleep below play, of just I'm talking out loud, and then as I'm talking, I'm realizing something. Just seems like savior play.
I want to fix things, and you can't always fix things, and you don't always have the right to fix things. Sometimes those moments of grace just have to come. You can't will them, you can't push them on somebody else. And I'm learning now, I think, to try to go with the flow, to enjoy things, not to worry so much, and just, I know it's cliche to say, but to feel grateful. I feel like, as we say, the governor called. There's been a stay of execution, and now I've got these extra years to live, and I want to enjoy every day of it.
So just that, what she was saying at first, I want to fix things. I have this urge to fix everything in the people around me. That sounds like a DE message, a blaster message specifically. I want to control the things to fix things. It sounds a little bit like a TE message, fixing, where the FEs are less fixery, but just seems like a blaster message, a DE message, possibly an EJ message, I realized I was so involved in other people's lives. I was so involved in fixing things in other people's lives, and now I'm letting go of that. I'm living a freer life. I'm letting go of, you know, anxieties and just having more gratitude. You know, that's the thing that all of the alphas are saying is the answer is gratitude. Just be grateful for, you know, for what you have, for the life that you're living. And in her case, not be so worried about other people's business and trying to fix other people's lives. So just seems like, yeah, like an alpha message there. Okay, so I found this really old 1990 interview of Kathy Bates, and in this interview, she does seem much more like a feeler.
Very special. I feel like I've worked a long time for this.
E.T. was backstage at the Oscars with Kathy, trophy in hand.
I'm thrilled to have been given this recognition for the work. It's such an exciting experience. From the very beginning, working with Rob and working on the picture, which is the most important thing for an actor, I think, is when you're pleased with the communication, you know, with the director and the crew and everything. And to have this happen is just icing on the cake.
So, yeah, just seems like feelings. I mean, it's a small clip, but the most important thing for an actor is to be pleased with the communication. Like, that seems like it's taking responsibility for the vibe. Like, the vibe of the most important thing is that the vibe is right. So, again, the more I look for TE, the more I'm just really not seeing TE and still not explicitly seeing Effie, but seeing just a fuck ton of feelings. All right, so now I'm really seeing just way more feelings on feelings on feelings. So in this clip, Kathy is going to talk about how she almost turned down her role in The Waterboy and how that played out.
I read the first 12 pages. I was in my bed and I read the first 12 pages and I thought, oh, this is a piece of shit.
So super feelingy, this is a piece of shit. No reasons why, just is.
And I always keep a trash can right by my bed, you know,
Just
for all those scripts,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And so I threw it away. And my niece who works for me, she came in and she says, "What is this?" I said, "Ah, some stupid script they sent me." And she pulled it out and she said, "Adam Sandler." And I said, "Who is that?" And she said, "Don't you know the Hanukkah song from Saturday Night Live?"
Yeah.
So just like, look at those feelings. Look at like the emotion that she's showing. Like, Adam Sandler, you know, that's just like the behavior, the way she's saying it is like sharing chemicals, sharing emotions. Like, is that Effie?
She says, "What is this?" I said, "Ah, some stupid script they sent me." And she pulled it out and she said, "Adam Sandler."
Like, look at that. Look at this. Look at this, like, intense emotion here. Do the T's say stuff like that? I don't know.
Sandler. And I said, "Who is that?" And she said, "Don't you know the Hanukkah song from Saturday Night Live?"
Yeah.
So she made me do the movie.
She made me do the movie. She forced me to do it. Because I have no DI, I have no ability to make my own decisions, and she made me do it.
And she's right.
We had so much fun. We had so much fun.
It was a really fun.
We had so much fun. So, like, god damn it, is she Effie? I'm not ready to pull the trigger on that yet, but certainly not seeing TE. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I've pretty much proven DE at this point, but I do have another clip just to like really drive home the point that she's definitely DE.
Right? We're all in the orchestra, baby. That's why I always thank the crew. I'd be dancing around in an empty parking lot in my underwear, just spouting lines without everybody, even marketing people, PR
I am nothing without other people. I am nothing without the tribe.
people, everybody makes a movie and gets it out so that people can see what you really care about, what you want to say. And it's such an honor to be able to have that particular symphony, especially this one that we've been working on with Richard Jewell, because you want to change something that's been a travesty in someone's life. And to have the honor at my age to play a real woman and after 23 years, see her swanning up and down that red carpet.
Okay, so what she said before, you want to change something that's a travesty in someone's life? Like, is that Effie? Is that what she's talking about? Like, I want to fix other people, I want to fix things, I want to change something that's been emotionally difficult for other people. Is that what she's saying? I kind of can't quite tell. And I was trying to like listen to the story of like what this movie was about, and I don't totally know, but you know, something like bad happened to someone, and I don't know. There was a travesty in someone's life and she wanted to fix it. Oversimplified version. So I'm thinking like, ugh, would a TE say that? Like, it's so obvious that we all want to change something that's been a travesty in someone else's life. I kind of think no. That seems like Effie, and it also seems like it would be Effie Blast. So, and then I'm wondering, like, am I doing that? Like, I don't, I have to, like, think, I have to process that. I don't know. I don't know, but what I know is that doesn't seem TE, which would lead to Effie, right? There's no other DE. There's just the two. So maybe, like, is she my type twin? She could be. I wouldn't be like shocked if she were a similar type to me. So I don't know. Definitely DE. I'm pretty much dead set on EJ at this point. I mean, could she be an IJ? Seems unlikely, but definitely DE with low sleep. That's what I've got. All right, so I'm thinking that Kathy is OI and also lead Blast. So in this clip, she's going to give a couple little hints that she is responsible for the plan, for the preparation, for staying on script, like on the plan that they decided on, and that she's responsible for blasting. So she's going to tell a story about a dildo, and it's actually a funny story, but I'm not so much looking at the story, I'm looking at the OI-ness of it.
Do you know that happened to me once?
What happened?
Oh, you want? This is not the list of what we were supposed to talk about.
Please, let's get off the list.
Okay,
this is like a...
So this is not on the list of things that we were supposed to talk about. So she probably got a list of like topics ahead of time, and she probably like took it literally. Like, these are the lists. This is the list of topics I'm supposed to talk about. And oh my God, am I allowed to go off the list? So just like not channel changing. Like, channel changing is a little bit weird. She's doing a channel change, but she's literally asking for permission to do the channel change.
Better list.
So this was many years ago when I was dating kind of a rough guy. And so we were on our way to Chicago, and there's one of those stores where you can get the, you know, the stuff.
Yeah.
And so we went to the hotel, and I had it in my pocketbook, and it went off.
Okay.
We were in the elevator. And there were like 3 or 4 of us, and then it was going, and it was new, so I didn't know how to turn it off, right? So it was like, yeah, that was something. Bet you didn't think you were going to hear that today,
I was so much better. I'm wondering, like...
I bet you didn't think you were going to hear that today. Like, is that because we all come into a situation with, you know, preparing for what we're going to hear and what we're going to say? It just seems, I mean, that's kind of how I'm reading into it, but that definitely seems OI. So I'm thinking she's Savior OI and also lead Blast. Okay, so if you didn't already know that she's play above sleep, this clip shows she's play above sleep.
You're not feeling 100% today, so you're protecting me, so thank you.
Yes, I have bronchitis, but can I just say, I'm so glad I have your introduction on film, because in the event that I do die, which will be someday, I want them to play that at my memorial service.
So just like she comes on Tom Bilyeu's show with bronchitis. She like has this interview planned, and then she has bronchitis, and instead of canceling it, she just fucking goes with bronchitis. And just plays it down. Yes, I have bronchitis. Anyways, moving on to this other thing, like no, what does Shan call these? Boo-boo reports? Owie reports? Something like none of that. Just like, oh yeah, I have bronchitis. Anyways, let's not talk about my bronchitis. Let's like talk about, you know, something else. So just like play above sleep. Go, 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 go. All right, so I'm also trying to get a handle on Kathy's modalities. I really haven't seen a whole lot to indicate whether she's, on the masculine side or on the feminine side, either her DE or her sensory. But in this clip, I'm seeing a few little hints of feminine DE. So she's on the Larry King show, and Larry is grilling her on, this new series that she's in or something. And as he's pushing her, she just goes more into, what seems like feminine DE rather than masculine DE. So I'll play it.
What role will you be playing next season?
Well, all I know, our show is called American Horror Story Hotel. Hotel. And I've been told that I run the hotel.
Run the hotel?
Yep, and I run the hotel, and I don't know anything about it.
When do you start shooting?
Mid-July.
Do you imagine you will be a villainess or not?
Ooh, that's hard to say. I mean, the thing is,
you run the hotel. It's called hotel. It's a horror hotel.
And she's getting flustered.
Larry, I'm not supposed to say these things. You have to be very quiet about it.
Have you shot any yet?
No.
Oh, but you know what you're going to be.
And then he keeps grilling her.
Run the hotel, but I don't know if I'm going to be a villainess or if I'm going to be a good person. I don't know.
Now, is Lady Gaga in the cast?
So just that Larry, don't ask me about them. I'm not supposed to say those things. Oh, Larry, just seems very feminine DE. Because I'm thinking he's kind of pushing her here a little bit, and she gets a little bit flustered, and she's like, oh, I'm not supposed to say anything, And I'm thinking if someone is masculine DE and Larry is pushing them, they would push back. It'd be I don't know what type Larry King is, but he seems like there's some kind of masculine energy there. I have no idea what type he is. And if she were masculine DE, it'd be masculine on masculine, but he's pushing her, and she's seems like she's the one who's moving. So I think I'm going to play that again. And look at that little face. She seems like she's kind of scared, oh, what are you going to ask me?
Hotel.
So what role will you be playing next season?
Well, all I know, our show is called American Horror Story Hotel. Hotel. And I've been told that I run the hotel.
Run the hotel?
Yep, and I run the hotel, and I don't know anything about it.
So I don't know anything else, so don't ask me any more information. And then he proceeds to ask her much more information, and she proceeds to tell him stuff.
When do you start shooting?
Mid-July.
Do you imagine you...
And she's already mid-July, a little bit scared, you're grilling me.
Will be a villainess or not?
I know you don't know the details. I don't know you don't know the sensory, but can you speculate? What do you imagine you'll be? So her response could also be a little bit I don't want to speculate, maybe. And also they probably told me I shouldn't be saying anything. So I don't know what information to give.
Ooh, that's hard to say. I mean, the thing is,
you run the hotel.
Yeah.
And then she tries to dismiss it. So that's hard to say. The thing is, and then she tries to go and off on a tangent, and he brings her back to grill her. No, go back to the topic. He won't let her dismiss it. And then that's when
it's called hotel. It's a horror hotel. Guess.
Flustered.
Larry, I'm not supposed to say these things.
So he pushes her, and she gets flustered, and her response is, she's fiddling with her buttons. Oh, Larry, I'm not supposed to say these things. Oh, Larry, don't push me to say that. Just very, whiny, feminine. Oh, Larry. Just... I'm also thinking, to me, okay, so in my, feminine Effie brain, that sounds feminine Effie to me. Almost, the whininess of it is, feminine, almost emotionally manipulative. Oh, no. Trying to kind of move your emotions in, I don't know how to describe it, in, a whiny way? I don't know. I don't know how to describe why I think that's feminine Effie. Like, would the feminine TE say that? Ooh, Larry, no, I'm not supposed to do that. Maybe. They might. They might say that kind of a thing. It's totally possible. I don't know enough about the feminine TEs to say that. I just know that this feels very feminine to me. Oh, Larry, I'm not supposed to do that. As she, like, fidgets with her little button there. I'm also thinking, like, is it possible for that to come from, like, a demon feminine FI? I don't think so. I think if she were feminine DE, she would be pushing back. Or it'd be like, why are you attacking me? You're attacking me so that I need to be on the attack. It's like you're, like, coming at me, and so I need to, like, back down and be whiny and complainy, you know?
Yes.
Larry, I'm not supposed to say these things. You have to be very quiet about it.
Have you shot any yet?
No.
And then you have to be very quiet about it. Like, this communal group is supposed to be quiet about it. It's not like my responsibility. We.
But you know what you're going to do.
And then he backs down a little bit.
I'm going to run the hotel. But I don't know if I'm going to be a villainess or if I'm going to be a good person. I don't know.
Now, is Lady Gaga in?
So just, yeah, possibly feminine DE. Perhaps. All right, so here's what I've got so far. I feel pretty confident that she is an EJ with high play and not blast last. So I've crossed off everything that is not that. The things that I'm still unclear on is, well, I suspect she's Savior OI, although I don't have a ton to go off on that. But I'm thinking she's OI, so I haven't crossed off the OEs, but I would lean OI. And then I think she's sensory above intuition, although the only thing I had to prove that was, like, demon intuition. I didn't actually see the Savior sensory, so I'm not that certain on that. But I also think, like, if she were intuitive, would she be NI or NE? She really doesn't seem like either. I also, like, I really didn't have a lot to prove SI, even though I heavily suspect she's SI, and I mean, I'm kind of going off nothing for that, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's wrong. She's not actually SI. But I just, like, when I listen to her language, it seems so familiar to me, and it seems so just SINE, and, like, how I talk with SI, so that's kind of why. She really does not feel NI to me at all. She doesn't feel on the NI-SE axis, and she doesn't feel NE. Although, I mean, it's possible she could be NE, but anyways. So I have what I think is demon intuition, but I didn't see Savior sensory. I'm definitely leaning SI, although I really don't have a ton to go off on that, so whatever. And then I was thinking that she was energy dominant, actually. I saw just a couple tiny little things that suspected energy dominant, and I also saw a lack of information dominance. She just seemed really more focused on the doing rather than the information, like especially when she was talking about, what was the nonprofit organization called? Like the Lymphatic Network or something that she's like a spokesperson for. She seemed like, you know, the information was there, she had the information, and she was a double observer and she could do the information, but it was really about like the doing, and the information was kind of like, I'm thinking, okay, if she's possibly type twin to me, if I'm a spokesperson for nonprofit organization that's focused on the lymphatic system, I am going to give like all of the information about the lymphatic system, and she kind of just wasn't really doing that. She just kind of like glazed over how the lymphatic system actually works. So so that's kind of, I guess, what I was thinking, like lack of information dominance, and then just saw a few little things on energy dom, but like I really don't know. So if that were the case, then she would be here, consume last. And then I don't have anything on FE versus TE. I was really hoping that when I like rewatched clips, I would get something. And all I'm seeing is like, I'm not seeing TE, and I'm seeing a lot of feeling, so that could be FE. But I'm also thinking like, okay, I myself am FE, and if she is FESI, then like she's basically my type twin. Like, I think I should be able to see FE more prevalent in her if that were the case. If she's like my own type twin. but I'm not explicitly seeing Effie. So leaning Effie, but you know, I don't know. She definitely could still be TE. And then modalities, I'm suspecting she's either double feminine or audio, but I really don't know. So the other thing that's making me hesitant about typing her FESI is because they just typed someone who was FESI. I think it was last week, Joe DeSena. So if she were FESI, that would be 2 ESFJs like back to back, which sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. I don't know. So that's another reason why I'm hesitant to type her as an ESFJ. Which, by the way, the Joe DeSena class was like traumatic for me because he's basically my type twin, except he's audio and I'm double feminine. But other than that, we're the same person, and he does not remind me of myself at all. I actually typed him as an ISTP. I only spent like 30 seconds on him, but still, like, I did not see him as my own self at all. I've watched it a couple times, and I feel like I'm not seeing myself. So I might even do a whole like video reviewing that class and like his type, because I'm trying to process, like, if we're the same type, what am I doing that he is also doing, and how do I feel like he's so different from me? Like, what are we doing the same, even though I feel like he's so different from me, you know? So yeah, that was a very interesting class. Anyways, what am I talking about? Right, Kathy. Yeah, so I think she's either an ESFJ or an ESTJ. I know she's an EJ, high play, not blast last. That's basically all I can prove. Suspecting OI, suspecting SI, and now sort of suspecting FE over TE. So that's what I got this week. Bye.